Midway, Guadalcanal, Okinawa, Iwo Jima. On these tiny patches of land in the vast Pacific Ocean, American servicemen braved rough seas and dangerous landings only to encounter intense heat, rampant disease, and an unfamiliar terrain while in ferocious combat against a determined Japanese enemy. In the Pacific theater, amphibious warfare came into its own. On December 7, 1941, the Imperial Japanese Navy launched a surprise air attack on Pearl Harbor, severely damaging the U.S. Pacific Fleet. Within hours of the attack on Pearl Harbor, Japanese forces also invaded the Philippines, seizing U.S. airfields and Navy facilities. For the next 6 months, the Japanese controlled the Pacific, occupying numerous strategic islands over thousands of square miles, including the Philippines, where U.S. and Filipino forces fought a determined defense over 5 months. Without reinforcement or resupply, they finally surrendered at Bataan. Many Japanese warriors carried good luck flags inside their shirts, adorned with messages from loved ones wishing them victory and safety. The flags reminded soldiers of their unfailing duty to their country. The decisive Battle of Midway in June 1942 is considered the turning point of the war in the Pacific. The Japanese Navy was now no longer capable of major offensive campaigns, allowing the Allies to start their own Pacific offensive. 2 weapons gave American troops a strategic advantage throughout the war. The M1919A, the Marine Corps' primary light machine gun, delivered unsurpassed ease of operation, reliability, and firepower. The semi-automatic M1 Garand was America's standard-issue rifle. General George Patton called the Garand the greatest battle implement ever devised because it enabled what Patton called marching fire, rapid, accurate fire while advancing on foot. In August 1942, the U.S. mounted its first major amphibious landing on the island of Guadalcanal. The ferocious fight for control of the island and its critical airfield continued for more than 6 months. American troops lived in misery, enduring dense jungle terrain, heat, oppressive humidity, mosquitoes, and malaria. Constant nighttime bombardment from a foe determined to kill as many enemies as possible without surrender resulted in enormous losses on both sides. A major step toward victory at Guadalcanal was the Battle of Edson's Ridge. Named after Lieutenant Colonel Merritt A. Edson, leader of the legendary Marine Corps Raiders, specialists in speed, surprise, and guerrilla tactics, the 800 Raiders at Edson's Ridge, defending the island's strategic airfield, held off 2,500 Japanese fighters in vicious close-quarter combat. In October 1944, U.S. forces returned to the Philippines. Landing at Leyte Gulf, they joined with the Filipino Army and guerrilla units and defeated Japanese forces throughout the Philippines. Desperate to reverse the growing Allied advantage, the Japanese employed suicide bombers. The terrifying sight of Japanese pilots diving their planes into ships became a constant fear to American soldiers and sailors. To thwart these kamikaze attacks, battleship personnel practiced anti-aircraft gunnery using newly created target kites. Towed from the stern of the ship, the kites could loop, dive, climb, and make figure eights. America's invasion of Okinawa in April of 1945, just 350 miles from Japan, proved to be the bloodiest and largest amphibious assault in the Pacific theater. It marked the final major conflict of World War II. Victory in Europe was celebrated on May 8, and by the end of June, the Allies were closing in on the Japanese home islands. Despite horrific losses on Iwo Jima and Okinawa, it was clear the Japanese would never surrender in their fight to save their homeland. Military experts projected a land invasion of Japan could cost the lives of up to 1 million U.S. soldiers and many more Japanese. The capacity to end the war was in President Truman's hands, but it required unleashing the most brutal weapon ever created, In August 1945, atomic bombs were dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, annihilating both cities and killing more than 200,000 citizens. On September 2, 1945, General Douglas MacArthur accepted Japan's formal surrender aboard the USS Missouri. The Second World War was now over. More than 400,000 Americans and an estimated 65 million people worldwide died in the war. At a terrible cost to the Japanese civilian population, the atomic bomb brought an end to the horrific fighting and signaled the dawn of the nuclear age.